We are live.
Oh, I love it when he points at me. You know what that means? We've been few and far between in our episodes, but we are back. It's the very unofficial War Robots
What's up,
podcast
fool?
with my man Droopy Sack, Mr. Hickles.
Oh yeah.
That's that
Way
emoji.
to acknowledge yourself, boys. I know what you're saying. No warning whatsoever. Well, we got a chance because the cable man came to Droopy's house, and finally we got some bandwidth, and we got our stuff
Jim
together.
Carrey, thankfully.
No.
Nah,
And it's good to see your shining little faces, my brothers.
What's up, Desmond? What's up, y'all?
Now,
Oh shit! I need to give a like on YouTube and stuff and see the comments.
we also, I have to put that up in the background. We also have to remember it has been a while. We have plenty to get to, but we have a list, wonderful stuff prepared just for you.
And
Now,
I've got a
we have to congratulate Higgy right away, right off the bat. The man is holding in his hands what he received today, his
My mouse.
10S Max. Your 10S Max, douchebag.
What was that? Was that the jitterbug?
The jitter.
Oh, I love
The
that
jitterbug.
song.
And
XL.
Jason was going for that
Jam.
song station you had. Jason's going from
my
a 6S to a 10S Max. And how are you feeling that phone, my brother?
Well, I feel it with my hands. It's really nice. It's really
Stellar stuff, buddy. Stellar
Yeah,
stuff.
I know, right? It's just the detail that I'm giving, just the exposition of how amazing this is. It's just
Obviously,
so
the
riveting.
phone is sinking.
It's really
in quite a
good.
bit.
Yeah,
I haven't had too much of a chance to play with it yet. Giggity. I have my case on it. I've got my screen protector on it, and then
So you got a glove on it, huh?
yeah,
Safe
Hey.
sex.
safe sex. It is
Safe for a robot.
$600 to
Yeah.
replace the thing if it cracks.
Ouch.
To replace what thing?
the
The
whole.
back. Like if you
back.
crack the glass or anything like
Yeah.
that, it's $600.
Are you planning
Dang.
on getting an inductive charging stand? Something to lay it on to charge.
Probably eventually.
Yeah. Now you were saying you like those graphics though, huh? That OLED screen, those
Yeah,
those
it's
colors are
nice.
there, aren't they?
It's really, really, really nice. Like I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow, and then I'll probably do a video comparison side by side. So I'll have one side my 6S gameplay, and then
Yeah.
the one side my iPhone Max gameplay, and we'll be able to see if there is a huge difference. Or if I'm
Oh, I
just
bet
making-
there is. I bet there is.
Oh yeah. Well, and especially if you can record in that full resolution, and on our side of it, depending on what device you're watching on, there's only a certain limit to everyone's resolution. At least it'll be in as good a resolution as you can provide. HDR color, if you have it. If those of you who have it, you should be able to see it in HDR color.
Yeah, I mean, I'm selling blood and sperm to afford it every month. So other than that,
That's fantastic.
That's how I bet some of the players are feeling right now. Because of the economy.
yeah.
They're probably like giving platelets and what is it? Donating blood daily.
I'm really proud of myself. In the past, like 2 months, besides premium, because I've been buying premium, I've spent about $5 on the dollar deals. Like, that's about it. That's all I've spent.
Is that for the golden keys?
Yeah, no gold and silver.
Oh my god.
Oh, spending is down according to Sensor Tower. 7 million went down to 2 million a month. Last
What?
I checked, and I have not seen for this past month yet again. But the first month we went into the new economy, that we had a full month of it. At least on Sensor Tower, it went from 7 million down to 2. That's
What?
take what you want to out of that as far as the info go.
That really makes me sad. It makes me sad because it's a business. I want them to make money, but that just
Such a
shows how unhappy.
You
I
want balance.
and that shows how unhappy people are with it. I mean, it really does. I really wonder what the game's going to look like in 6 months.
Now we've said that several times throughout our history for the past several years.
Oh,
So
man.
that is always interesting, and we kind of say it with our not tongue in cheek, but tongue in the idea of Is Armageddon around the corner? You know, we're always kind of wondering about that. I think the game will be fine, but it seems to go towards crazy kind of a lot. Now, this brings up kind of a point we'd like to address a little bit. Not a big deal, and we kind of want to have a little fun with it. And because one very astute listener in our last show, and I know it's been a long time, you guys, we apologize.
Very long.
But right after it, this listener pointed out to Droopy, a person who listens quite often, and kind of just pointed out, very accurately, I might ask, that the show's been very negative as of late. And there's a good reason for it. We like to offer solutions, and we have not offered as many. Now, it's been a month, really, since we've addressed you in this forum, and a lot has changed since then. So we could probably realistically start to talk solutions more realistically since time has passed. But a month ago, bringing up certain solutions to some issues that really hadn't happened yet, and I'm referring to like rooting weapons and so forth, we were just warning you what's coming. A lot of rooting weapons, a lot of crazy stuff. It's game changing. It really is. I mean, it's not the most game changing thing ever. We could debate what that was in the game. There's plenty of ideas of what that could be. But we're kind of representing the current, I guess, aura, and reflecting what some of the people, the other players, my boys, what we're feeling is going to shine through. And yes, you're right. It's been a little negative. I think rooting weapons have not been as terrible as what you might say. What am I missing?
Dark Warriors.
Yeah.
He said, I love to be rooted.
Right. Well, it depends on, everybody likes to be treated, spanked a little bit. But see, the guys and I, we want you to know we're still having a good time. We were just very worried about rooting weapons causing a lot of havoc for those who can't get a hold of them and those who have not, and not making, you just didn't want it to be that unfair. And we're really worried about that. Hence, I bring up the Stu show that we last did, because Stu got a hold of Droopy and got a hold of me, and Jason couldn't join us. And we went on the air pretty sporadically because Stu demands that type of respect from us.
And it was all feelings, and we were just sitting by the campfire, just passing the talk stick. You get the talk stick and you start talking and floating the feathers around and getting your marshmallows and passing it on to the next person and just spreading the negativity like a virus.
He was concerned, and he wanted to get his, if he wanted a format, and we said, ours is there for you. Please join us. So he expressed himself. But yes, there was, I guess, negativity. We do have ideas for some solutions, some that we've said on shows in the past over and over again. So at the risk of repeating some of them a lot, we're going to save them till a little later. But to get into this episode, there is something I wanted to ask you guys about right off the bat that I wonder if you get this feeling too. And if you don't, that's fine. And some of you out there might get, but do you ever get this regret when you push certain buttons in the game? Like when you rush an upgrade, or you spend money, and then as soon as you spend the money, you get that regret feeling.
I get that all the time. Oh my God.
I get that regret feeling when I push the upgrade button and have to wait a week. I have to wait a week.
That counts too, man. I get you. I get you, guys.
To go from 7 to 8 on my Exodus, and I've basically made up my mind to just give up. Like, I have 2 hours and 23 minutes left on my Exodus. That's going from 7 to level 8, and I'm not gonna level it. I'm not going to level any of my stuff, any of the new stuff. I've got a second hangar with a Wayland, another Pursuer, 3 Sparks, the Exodus, Falcon, all that stuff. I'm just gonna leave it in there. It's gonna collect rust, and I'm going to upgrade all the stuff I got before the economy change. Because at this point, I will have sandy hair in places I don't want sandy looking hair before I get good levels on this stuff. It's ridiculous.
So I know you. I'm so glad to hear you guys agree with me. Jeez, I was wondering if that was just me, but I'm trying to figure out which one gives me the most regret, and it just happens several times lately. Like when I spent a little gold on an upgrade, to rush it, or I bought some silver because I was just needing it so bad. And oh God, tell me,
I tell you,
work me through this.
Some of the most guilty things I've ever done was probably over a year ago now. I spent 18,500 gold twice for 50 million silver.
Oh man, boy, speak your piece, bro. We're in a truth tree, man. We are in the truth tree, hanging from the branches of the truth tree, man. Talk your truth.
I was rocking I had like 30 to 40,000 silver. Just I'm like, I need the silver, or I had the gold. I don't have silver. I need them, and God, that hurt. It still hurts.
But now you get like handsome rewards for these. I don't think it's high enough. I think the upgrade times need to be brought down, and the silver needs to be increased a little bit.
You know what I wouldn't mind? I would not mind the upgrade times brought down, but the component upgrade, or the component making, the Workshop 2.0, I wouldn't mind that increasing more.
Or really, having availability of the new weapons to be able to get the new weapons instead of waiting 2 months.
That's what I was saying on my live stream. I don't understand why they're so afraid of giving us the new content when they release it. They seem to be afraid of giving it to us.
Well,
the only way to get it.
Well, you got to think about the lower
They don't
want
to flood the market, but then
they are immediately saying it's unbalanced. If they don't want to flood the market with it, then they're saying this is unbalanced.
Well, what's unbalanced is having those old those old bots, Leos, everything that's pre-dash to go up against all the new stuff. I think that's what's out of balance. Honestly,
shoot, some Leos have been kicking.
I don't give a dang. If you add some HP to the Lancelot, it's still silver. I look at it as silver.
And I was playing the other day, and I was going up against the Lancelot and my Fury Dragoon, and I'm like, what's the point of you buffing the Lancelot if you're buffing my Dragoon? The shield still broke.
Boy, that Dragoon is so powerful now, Jason. That's a good point.
Yeah,
that thing. I mean, excuse me.
Yep.
I 2 of those on a bulwark is a sick setup, especially on Yamatal and in the canyon, because you've got all that open space you can set up in certain areas, and when you're in that bulwark, you can make yourself almost invincible for a while.
Yep.
Let me tell you something.
Please.
When I worked at Crystals many years ago, it was my first job. We used to call the little crystals rectum rockets because it gives you the runs, right? The Dragoons are the new rectum rockets, because as soon as you see them, you turn around and run, and they're shooting you in the rectum.
Yeah,
that's
one every second. That blue goo. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh, do they have Smurfs in Russia?
I'm sure.
they do. Is that something? Did they know what they were doing when they made that stuff? That's the worst. Absolutely the worst.
No,
what happened to the Thunder guys? Why didn't we get a buff on that?
Because they don't give a shit about it.
I played in the gold leagues last week with my wife's account. I got into the gold leagues with just some normal gold stuff, and there are a lot of Thunders not doing any damage to anybody. I felt real bad that's a very common weapon around there, and it should be, because it's easy to get a hold of, and it used to be something fun, but
I really think that it goes back to the conversation that we had a while back about the damage to risk ratio.
Yeah.
The closer you are to any one particular player, it's a high risk. So whatever weapon that you have, which doesn't make sense because the Dragoon is a low risk, high damage. was it high damage?
Low risk.
Low risk. And the thunder is high damage, high risk. Does that make sense?
Now it's low damage, high risk.
Yeah, so because it's like inverted, it's like the inverted U.
Yeah,
when it comes to.
Yeah,
you're supposed to get a lot of damage for being that close.
Yeah, you're supposed to be lessening the damage as you get farther away.
It's like the Redeemers. The Redeemers are the same thing, but it's almost like I was going to do a spoof on this, and God, now I have to because I'm going to talk about it. Having Drippy Sack character do like hit the thunder button or hit the Redeemer fire button, and then like just sit there with this like
that's kind of weird.
Really weird. Like what is going on? Like why is it not firing? Oh, maybe I need to go get some coffee, and then go get some coffee, and then the next round hits. There's too much space of time in between each round. Way too much.
And you did a video outlining the inaccuracy of that thunder, and just it was like only 40%, and you were only 200 meters away.
No, I was 100 meters away.
Yeah, and you should be contacting most everything with that.
And that was an MK2. That was an MK2 level
gust
12.
And storm.
Oh, what did they do? That they nerfed
their heavy counterpart.
Oh my god, they neutered the freaking gust.
They did.
So you feel like it was a big change, huh?
They took the balls off that thing and then
no.
mashed them in some cookie dough.
Man, it still hurts. It needed adjusted. It needed adjusted.
We have a debate, please. Okay, so let's break it down just a little bit. I have something on mine that I noticed that Droopy has on. I believe you have on. I have a halo on mine, on my Pursuer.
Really?
Yeah, I have a halo and 2 gusts.
Okay.
And even though I've been told you put the halo on the side so you can corner shoot, to tell you the truth, I found it difficult to corner shoot with and aim very well, because when it's not right on top and it's on the side and it has that arc, it kind of shoots to the right a little bit, and it's difficult to it's difficult to aim sideways and have your other gusts actually make contact when you're trying to hit them with the arc. If that makes sense to anybody. So I've been experimenting where we put the halo, but I believe the gusts are still potent, but I'm in between on you guys. I think they're still effective, but
they're effective.
It really felt like they got neutered quite a bit. So tell me, boys.
They're effective at taking down Ansel shields and getting up close and personal and feeling the tickle bitties. That's man, you've got to be up close, like in proximity of I'd say 100 meters.
Yeah.
Because they fire so quick, and when you get that feeling that you've run out of that, you better just call it quits and run.
Yeah. You gotta time that robot. You do, right?
I will definitely say that that's correct. Like I feel like it's been neutered more in the longer range. Like I used to be able to pepper people at like 350, 400, and still do some damage. Now you don't see that at all. You don't. But I do feel like it needed something. But see, that's the thing that Big Sonic doesn't really ever do. Their buffs and rebalances, it just add damage here, take away damage here. Usually, like with the Redeemer, I didn't feel the Redeemer really needed a big damage increase. I think it needed more of a fire rate increase instead of a damage increase.
Okay, the mechanics.
But, it's not always about how much damage something does or not.
No, you're very right, Jason. And along those lines, what happened to the shock train? I get it.
I took my shock trains out.
I'm thinking about it.
Good for you,
man. Dude, I ran them for like 3 weeks, and then as soon as the update hit, I'm like, ooh, they're not doing nothing.
So what is your replacement for those? I mean, if you've taken those out,
that's a good question.
I will tell you what it is, and I'm very happy to tell you it is Tolumbus.
Of course it is.
What level?
Abso-funking-lutely, it's Tolumbus. I have been leveling Tulumbas myself, trying to get all of them as max as possible. I have 3 that are old economy and 1 that happened to slip in as a new economy. But because it's a silver, weapons, you guys, it's not as expensive under the new economy as you might think. So don't fear that weapon as much. But I believe the Tulumba, especially with rooting weapons out there, more rooting weapons to me means more stealth. And more stealth to me means weapons you don't have to lock on to use. Because if there's too much stealth going on out there, you don't get a chance to lock onto stuff.
Yeah.
You might as well go to Splash, because at least you've got the forgiveness that Splash affords you. Wouldn't you say, guys?
Absolutely.
I do. And I missed it so much, because one of my favorite builds I used to run is the Griffin with pins and Columbus. Like, that used to be my favorite robot.
Oh, the death button, baby.
And the Russian death button.
Yeah.
It's got to be the Russian.
Now, like, now I'm getting back into it with my Columbus, and I love it. It is so much more fun to use those things than it was the shock train. Like, way more fun. There's like 5 dang trains going by my house.
It wouldn't be the very unofficial podcast without the choo-choo, baby. That's faux show.
I really want one to like stop there and then I go climb on it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
You'd have to bring your little camera out.
Absolutely.
That'd be great. How far from the tracks are you?
100 yards.
Oh, that's not far at all. That's probably why we can hear it.
No.
But hey, man, you know what's funny? Every time that I have my dream hangar, and I love running this thing, and it's so fun, even though
Please
I don't
describe
get
this.
Okay, so
welcome Gucci.
I got 2 pursuers, and they're both level 11. I have 2 level 12 gusts on the sides, and then one has a level 2 what's that shredder,
Halo.
The shredder.
Oh, you have a shredder.
And then the other one is a halo.
Right?
The other one is a halo. And then I have a Strider with 2 gusts and 2 level 12 gusts and a level 12 MK2 Ansel shield. And then I have 2
Where
Spectres.
did you put the halo before you move on? Where did you put the halo?
On top. I put the Shredder on top too. It's just OCD. I have to have them. I can't have one on the side and then it has to be whatever.
No. I had difficulty aiming with it on the side. I mean, very much.
I'm not even trying.
That's
running sideways
what she said.
Yeah. So, and then I have 2 Spectres. Both of them are level 11. I have one with a Pulsar on the very bottom, and 3 level 11 Storms, and then the other one is 3 level 11 Scourges with the Pulsar. And the Pulsar, I think both of them are level 2 and 3. And I have no interest in increasing them at all. No interest whatsoever.
You just want them to stop, right? You want stopping.
All I care about is just that one round, that 25% average of hitting. And I hit them pretty much 90% of the time. And all I'll do is I'll just tap that Pulsar or that Shredder or that Halo. And then I'll just tap it, and I won't even fire the other weapons until that person is rooted, and then I'll just pounce on them. Boom. Because every time that I root someone, I hear in my head, "Finish him!" Like that from Mortal Kombat.
Finish him.
And then when they die, flawless victory.
You know, some of the coolest stuff, though, is like seeing a hoverbot get rooted in the air, and it just drops.
Oh, I'd love to see.
Cool.
I'd love to see some more dramatic death. I mean, in the spirit of Mortal Kombat and Tekken and all that, I'd love to see at least some heads flying off, some arms flying off and like smacking another robot in the face or something like that. That would be fantastic. I think that would add to the game quite a bit. I need
Kick, Mr. Kick. You just brought up a very, very interesting thing. Adrian put out a video today. The weapons that he recommends that you focus on. I would say probably 80% that's absolutely true. But then you got to take into account his league that he's in and the people that he faces on a day-to-day basis. Like it's all like competitive. Like they cry themselves to sleep at night if they don't win. Like that's how serious those. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but you know they're very serious about competition.
You guys don't cry yourselves to sleep?
I cry myself to sleep a lot, but it has nothing to do with War Robots. It has nothing to do with War Robots. It has everything to do with my internet.
Absolutely.
Nah, but
internet. Yeah. No, it's mine. I cry over my internet.
Jason's just concerned about his sock supply.
But you also have to take into consideration the type
of your hormone
socks. Yeah,
I got some new socks recently.
That's disgusting.
Very nice.
That's disgusting. But you also have to take into consideration the type of player that you are. The type of player that you are might be you're a total brawler. Like all you want to do is get into Center Beacon and just create that graveyard scene. Like you kill everything, whether you do it or not. You like to be part of that battle, or you like to be on the outskirts, and you like to give a little support with range or mid-range, or you're a selfless servant type of player that you go out there and your whole mission is just to take down Ansel shields for the players that have the RDBs, because as you can tell, RDBs don't do ish to Ansel shields anymore. Like you can't take down an Ansel shield with an RDB. Even
and they just buffed a couple.
They buffed the Ansel shield. And so that's why you're starting to see
a couple of those buffs were placating.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that Carnage buff, that and the Fujin buff, those are placations to make you feel as if your old robots are still viable.
I want that Carnage. I wanted to have a 200% speed buff, a 50% shield buff. Do that thing. I'm not even kidding you. I was in my Pursuer Gust today with the nerf, and I was almost dead with only 2 gusts, and I was able to take a Carnage from full health with shield to a third of its life before I died, and I had less than a third of my health left, and he was running 2 Thunders. So ineffective.
Yeah,
so ineffective. Like I thought I was gonna die. Like I was like, man, I'm going for it. I'm just gonna, and then I thought I was gonna kill him eventually, because I'm like, dude, 2 Thunders is barely even touching me, and I'm almost dead.
Yeah.
Under the current componentry system, though, no one's gonna pick a Carnage when if they want a Carnage, they're gonna pick a Bulwark. You know, to at least to try to save for. Yeah, that's the one thing that's difficult about this upgrade system and the componentry system mixed the way they have it now, compared to maybe a year ago or so, is that. And then I saw this. Oh, geez, I wish I could give this credit for bringing this up. Maybe one of you guys could remind me. But doing it kind of the old way a little bit, you know, not letting you either purchase or build some of the certain weapons until you're of a certain level.
Oh, we were talking about that.
It still does that though, doesn't it?
Nope.
Or can you build
nowhere near what
it
should?
No, because if you start a new account right now and you're a grinder and you know exactly how to work the game, you can be at level 27 by the end of the week. If you're really grinding.
I've been wondering that. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I've been wondering about the level system for like the past week and a half now.
Well, it's a byproduct of the old. That's the only thing, is that back in the old days of pre-plasma, even those levels meant something. Then once the workshop was introduced, it made the levels up to 30 actually meant something. And now, of course, they mean absolutely nothing, almost nothing to the new player. The new player has to get up to level 21 or 23, and then it's pretty much you can do whatever the heck you want. You know, you can do whatever. And because of that, geez, how many of them, with those few restrictions, how many of them are going to choose a Carnage when they can go ahead and save for a Bulwark? Why would they choose certain robots when you can get the fancier model that they've gone ahead and done? Right, Drew?
Exactly. I think that the ADD that Americans have, I don't know if it's as bad in other countries, but ADHD, the DSM, it's a DSM-5 now probably. That's the book that
ABD,
they use all the mental disorders for all the different types of issues for people and stuff that, you know, classify like what people are dealing with so that they can put them on a track to be a whole person again, whatever.
You're a schizoaffective bipolar 2 with
it's like
multiple personality.
But you think a person
Yes,
who decides, oh, I want to get a Carnage, but then dang, I really want that Bulwark because that Bulwark is pretty dope, and I saw that other people were using it, and they put the oh my gosh, not the Redeemers, the Dragoons on it.
The Dragoons.
I want the Dragoons on it because the Carnages are so frail. So then they start saving for the Bulwark, and then they start getting beaten up by people with Spectres or the Blitz or something, and then they're like, oh man, now I want to get the Blitz, or I want to get the Riker, or whatever the damn name is, and then they want to get this weapon and this weapon, and they completely forgot about the Bulwark, and then they just abandon the Bulwark and they waste all the resources on the Bulwark, and now they go and direct all their focus and the resources to this new thing, and this new thing they see getting beat up because they just worked it in the last match, and then they change their mind and they go to the different thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people, I would love to see if there was a study or something, like if somebody did like a case study of themselves. I know.
Don't sell it, Dark Warrior. Don't sell them. Hold on to it. Hold on to everything. Sorry.
Yeah, I would hold on to it. I wouldn't sell anything because I sold so many things I shouldn't have sold that got buffed. Anyways, like how much your mind changes based on the wins of the matches, because as you can tell, like you're getting matched up against people that have MK2 level 12 stuff, and you're in freaking Bronze League, and that person that in Bronze League has all MK2 stuff, but hasn't tanked. Maybe they were in Legend League, or they were, you know, in the top champion bracket, and then they decide, you know what, this is boring because it's the same people every single day, and then they basically put that account down, and then they open up a new one. But they know how to work the system, and they know which weapons work and then which weapons to avoid, and avoid the error that they did when they first started. They wasted so much time and so much currency. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's in the early days when you are starting to play. That's why you watch the videos. That's why you start looking things up, and you start Googling stuff. Is you want to see who's running what.
Yep.
What am I doing wrong? You watch some instructionals. That's when you start to find out who Adrian is, and who Annie is, and who Droopy is, and then your Higgles, and it's so very, very tentative as far as when you're trying to plan on the future. Also, as the Dark Warrior pointed out so aptly quite some time ago, the very last line in the post. Do you remember that, my friend? I'll give you a second to respond. Dark Warrior, he posted, basically he brought it up to everybody in our group and posted very correctly that the last line, and they pointed out in their little declaration of the new workshop, and they declared that you're still going to be able to hold on to all your workshop points, and you're still supposed to be able to eventually trade them in for this or that, things that they've been telling you forever. And they still may or may not happen. I mean, they promised you they were going to switch things up before all this workshop, and then a few weeks later, everything is completely switched again. These younger players are having just that much more difficulty planning ahead so that they don't get the incorrect weapon and waste all the resources that you just pointed out, because you, once again, just like hitting the button and getting a little tinge of regret, there's that moment when you're goofing with the game and you just figured out you made some mistakes according to the recent meta, and you get that overwhelming feeling. Yes, sir.
You know what's really interesting about what you just said? So I used to coach a lot of football players, and the football players getting them ready to go to college, to go to the scouting combines where all the recruiters are for, D1, D1 AA. Yeah. And what we would do is we would take the video footage of them doing the 40-yard dash, the 10-yard, the 5-10-5 shuttle, all the different types of drills. And we would shoot video footage of them from the front, the side, and the back. And we would see where their energy leakage is, where they're overshooting their marks and how to improve their form and whatnot. And when we would transition that to gameplay when they're whatever position, wide receiver, running back, cornerback, or whatever, and we would see them on the field in different scenarios, whether it was position specific or when they got off the field, their body language and how they handled themselves, how they handled missing a play or screwing up on the field or whatever. Because of the psychology of what it's projecting, the body language, what it's projecting to the recruiters. So I was taking that into consideration when somebody asked on the Facebook group, the new Facebook group of the positive cooperatives, basically. Someone asked do I suck? I think it was Patrick. I forgot his name. Damn it! And I downloaded his video so I can review it. But what I saw was he had the meta, the competitive bots and weapons, and he had a really tight hanger, and he just was getting killed left and right. And it wasn't that it was his bots were too slow. Yeah, they were too slow when it comes to like if you're higher level gameplay, competing against people like Adrian and Ben and all those people up there.
Maxed out
stuff because of level 9 being the top speed. He wasn't using his target lock. Yeah. And so when he was using his, he was just because he had that target lock enabled in the settings. And so he would move his crosshairs along the screen, and then it would just be by default, he would fire at whoever the default selection would be. And he was not paying attention. I can see because his eyes were on the crosshairs, and he would look this way, but he would be negating what was in his periphery on his side. And you would see a Spectre jump over the wall, and you can tell that based on the depth and the area that he was in, how that red eye was jumping towards him. You can tell that it was getting closer. I was like, no, it's getting closer to you. Turn. And then he was still facing, and then he gets killed by the Spectre.
Yeah.
And these are things that we were never taught. We just figured it out because we got killed so much, so often, daily, that it was just like, we're screwing up. What are we doing wrong? And then we just by default
you have to mother necessity tactics, right?
Just basic tactics and knowing what your bot's limitations and strengths are. But no one was out there teaching us how to do it. And there still really aren't tutorial videos. I mean, there's a couple of them out there, but for the most part, it's just watch how I play and then take for whatever it is instead of, dude, this is exactly how you do it. This is how you jump. Instead of, hitting that controller, let me see how you look at it at the screen. Instead of hitting the controller straight up and then jumping max distance, move that controller just a little bit towards, still in the center, but just a little bit more towards upper center so that you jump so it's a less of a jump distance or jump back or jump to the side.
Tutorials that have instructions on mechanics, shot mechanics, robot mechanics, like you just mentioned, are few and far between. It reminds me of the conversation you and I just had recently where you were making a video and you were asking me, what do you want to see? And I was saying, as far as myself being further along, it'd be a little bit different than maybe if I was a little younger. Game, all in all, I want to see secrets. I want to see. I want you to give me a tutorial with a weapon like a Tempest and on either a Fury or the robot of de jour for the day of the video. Take it with a weapon and show particular maps with particular lanes of fire. Show if it's dash day, then show particular maps where the dash should be used well. Where should I be taking my dash? Where in my Spectre, where should I be jumping from so that I can land in a safe place, And some people might say, well, that's giving away all my secrets. I mean, Adrian used to tease us all the time when I'd beg him to make videos. I'm like, come on, man, make those videos where you show those. He's like, I'm not giving away my secrets. Although he does do a great tutorial when he explains stuff. I mean, most of the great ones like Manny and so forth, they do a great job. Manny play-by-plays himself so well. He's so well at describing the tactics he's using as he's setting it up. It's very hard to do that. You guys all do your own videos. You realize just how difficult it is to do that and get lucky on a map. But that's what I would always want to see. I want to see things that make me a better player. If it's giving away secrets, well, so be it. But Jason, when you make a video anymore, how do you pick your subject matters?
Well, usually like I'll be showering and or
that's
just,
actually
day-to-day tasks, but usually in the shower. Or I'll bounce ideas off my wife a lot, and then I'll be like, okay, let's do that. Generally, there are things that I do. Like I have a few ideas that we've kind of hashed out that I really want to do, but time-wise, just takes forever.
Editing is difficult, and getting the footage, the setups.
It's so like so that's why I only do like one video a week now. I don't edit. I spent 3 hours on a video just editing. It's ridiculous. But anyways.
Well, that's why I was kind of thinking.
Stuff.
Go ahead, buddy.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I've realized for me, like, I can do tutorials and I give good, and I'm a decent player for sure. But my interest does not lie there. My interest lies in running level 12 Destroyers in Champions League. That kind of goofy stuff, That's where my real interest lies. Totally.
Well, I suppose most players coming up, I would think that they would want some of the things that I described. It's a particular video. Say, well, this
Big JJ is good.
The old days of Adrian. It's not that he's not doing what he used to or anything. It's not a criticism, but when new weapons come out and he puts them on a robot, not just showing what he's doing with it. I want to say, well, I like to take this weapon on this bridge because you get really good coverage here. I like it when I'm shown things that expand my capabilities in the game other than me having to go out there and have my ass handed to me to find out on my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So go ahead, John.
Go ahead, Jake. Go do your thing.
Well, I was going to say, I find it interesting. Like, I don't feel, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of and this is what you were talking about a little while ago, Josh, is I don't feel like the whole demand for watching MK2 maxed out gameplay videos is really wanted right now. No. It's like my wife was saying, in the makeup community, makeup tutorials aren't as popular as they used to be. People want to see something different. And I feel like in War Robots, it's the same thing. They want tutorials. They want information.
Yeah, the stuff we just talked about.
And not just MK2 maxed out. Look how hard I can hit. Because when I started my channel, that was the only thing people would want to see is 1.2 million damage, 1.4 million damage. And Adrian and Blithering were going for that 2 million damage. It was crazy.
I want pick a weapon, pick a robot, whatever, and I want you to highlight it for me. And I want whatever map it is that you happen to be on. I want you to show me where the best places is. If you picked your hangar, that your screw you hangar or whatever it is, I love it. Like when Droop runs in with even his hoverbots, and he's like, "Well, this is I like on this map. I like to go this way because I have this cover and I set this up." Those are the best videos by far, I believe. Other than just watching streamed gameplay. That's sporadic, where you can have, the chat and so forth. That's always going to be fantastic stuff, especially those where you have a whole group of good players. I mean, I loved it back in the day when a lot of the name players were on the same stream together. I like that a lot.
I'm going to tell you a story real quick, and I'm going to get, this is a personal story of mine. Okay.
Hey, Newt. What's up, Newt?
I was probably 10, 11 years old, and I was getting bullied in school. And in the area that I was in a predominantly black neighborhood. And it was a school that was majority black. But it wasn't the black kids that we were afraid of. It was like it was the cliques of this is when gangster rap was starting to be like really big, and you got a lot of white kids that wanted to be thugs, and so you got, you know,
was that mid 90s, right?
And this was in it was like 91, 92 ish.
That's beginning of beginning of hating police.
Mm-hmm. And
I mean,
so
really,
NWA, man.
NWA.
That did not go well.
But so I was getting bullied in school, and my best friend was that lived right behind me. He was black, and he had a really big family, but he was known as the person that you don't cross, you don't mess with. And he was like 1 year older than I was, but he was in the same grade. But he was unbeatable. No one can beat him. He was like Tyson in this small little kid's body, and
biting kids' ears off and crap.
No, he was knocking people out. That's what he was doing. But he was. I asked him if he can teach me how to fight, and he says the best thing you can do is watch Tyson. And we had VHS back then, and I didn't want to tell my dad that I was getting bullied, because my dad was not the type that would take nicely. He would probably go to the parents' house and beat up their dad, like, and I didn't want that to happen, because that would come back on me in school. And so I would tape a Tyson fight, and that means record it, like DVR now. So I recorded it, and then when he was at work, I would go into his bedroom, because it was the only place where a VHS was, and I would put the tape in, and I would push play, and then I would hit pause right before he got close to the fighter, and then I would hit the pause fast forward, but I forgot what it was that made it in slow motion. You can hear the tape going, but it made the tape go slow. Yeah, and so I would watch him. I would watch him, how he would have his fists up, how he would have his elbows, how he would stand. I would see how he would look, and how he would bob and weave. He was a peekaboo fighter. That means that he gets up in the person's grill, and then he hits the body shots and goes uppercuts. And so I would stand right next to the TV, and I would mirror everything that Tyson was doing. I would hit play, and it would go to where it was at the end of that little bout that he just punched the guy out, or he knocked the guy out, and then I would hit stop. I would rewind it, and I would do that over and over and over and over again until I figured out the peekaboo style of fighting in southpaw. And when I started getting in fights, I was known as Golden Glove. I don't remember what it was, but I never had any training. I just modeled and mirrored what worked for Tyson. It wouldn't work for like everyone. If someone had a long reach, I wouldn't know how to get up close and personal with someone who had, you know, Lewis's arms. I wouldn't even know how to do that, but a lot of fights ended up on the ground, and, you know, the whole ground and pound thing. So I did that same strategy with what other players were doing. Hell on Earth, Adrian, Lee Fighter. There's so many of them that I would watch them play. I would hit pause, and I would scrub back. That's basically in YouTube videos. Now you can just double tap and go back 10 seconds. And I would scrub it back a couple of seconds, and then I would push pause, and I would see where their crosshairs were, where they end up jumping, and I would look at the bottom left-hand corner at their joystick. Where was their joystick? Where was their left thumb pushing that joystick button? Where was did I see that the very bottom with the trigger button, the little red fire button, if it was tapped, I would notice that it was tapped, and I would see if he tapped the target lock button, how many times he hit the target lock button. When his crosshairs were over here, why did he keep hitting that target lock button? When the enemies were over here, why was his joystick facing that way? And I would break the gameplay apart, like piece by piece by piece, because Tony Robbins said that success leaves breadcrumbs. If you look at anyone that you want to be like, if you want to look at somebody, or if you want to be like someone who is in, you know, a field that you want to study, or is doing what it is that you want to do, ask them how they did it, because it is a recipe like a chocolate cake. If you have the perfect chocolate cake, and that person that baked the chocolate cake followed a recipe, and that recipe was given to you, and step by step how to make that chocolate cake, you will reproduce what that person just did if you follow that recipe. Now, if it doesn't taste good, and if it gives you the runs and whatever, that means that you skipped a step because you were trying to be quick. You were trying to be sly, like you were trying to skip that one vital step, because all of them are vital, because that person mastered the
Waffle
chocolate.
House instead of IHOP.
That is so true.
I want to say two things. One, I did the exact same thing, but instead of analyzing what they were doing in the moment, like I would analyze and want to know what they were doing like a minute before they went in for the kill, or like
reverse
why
engineer
they went here, or why they went over here. So crazy. And number two, I just want to say we have come so far from VHS, because it was such a pain to get that Titanic tape out, plug in the VCR, fast forward all the way to that one scene, watch the scene, and then have to rewind that tape all the way back so your parents didn't know
that one scene.
My mom didn't know that I was watching that one scene. Like that took like 15 minutes, man.
A window into into a little bit of Jason's private time there.
I'm just kidding. It wasn't on VHS.
Yeah, that never happened, I'm sure.
I'll be like, you are not that old. Not like,
no,
man,
that really happened. That happened. I used to, the only videos that we had growing up, like 12 of the original Disney movies on VHS. And that's all I had to watch, like forever. And then the crazy technology, the fast rewind VHS stuff. You plug your VHS tape into that thing and you close it up and then rewind in like 3 minutes.
We actually had a VHS player very early on. My grandfather was in World War II on a ship with a gentleman. He was an engineer, and they stayed friends after the war. And he worked for Philip Magnavox.
Oh, wow!
And was working on the first VCRs, and was in contact with my grandfather about it. And my grandfather helped him develop a few parts for it. And I always, teased him later. I was like, man, you should have patented that stuff, but. Early on, then we got free VCRs that were prototypes that were shipped to us. We had a VCR when I was, let's just say I was very, very young. It was 1974. We had a VCR in our house. It was a big black box that took the same VCR tapes, but my grandfather had it for his business, and it was amazing when the kids came over and I would record Walt Disney and, whatever. And I would have things, TV that you could watch. And then he had a video camera very early for his business too. So I would definitely have that, taking it out on the lake and stuff. I can't believe we didn't, get yelled at for the things we did with that camera, because it was so expensive.
Yep.
But it was fantastic technology early on. And then we also had a Super 8. Do you guys remember the little Super 8 that they used? My grandfather had one of those. Man. It was just a little one. But anyway, the cool thing was you could put movies on them too. And it was a cartridge and a little tube TV all in one. And we used to take that on our family trips when we went to go see my great grandparents and stuff. So while we were in the car, like in 1981, I'm watching TV in a VCR, and people can go by us in trucks and stuff and see us watching, in 1981, and people were just amazed. And so that was really cool early on. But to say where we are now, and to
big
technology,
difference.
Especially what Jason got. His iPhone today. I mean, the newest Galaxy and iPhones are just amazing. Yeah,
it's crazy. I used to be big into recording. I would record my TV shows on VHS for my sister and my mom and stuff, and then I would record our cassette tapes for in the car, because I've always been obsessed with music.
Oh yeah, mixtapes.
So we have to put the cassette in one side and play it, and then have the cassette in another one, or the same one if you were lucky to have it in the dual one, and record it on the other while I was playing it back.
Shabril, I don't know, man. I'm 40. I'm 47, buddy. I'll be 48 soon. I grew up watching a little black and white. You may have me by a little bit. If Ronnie Hartness is watching, our good friend of the show, and I believe Yvonne might be a little bit older than myself too. I know I'm putting you out there, guys. That's probably not very nice of me to throw some of our greatest.
That's when I remember Dave Chappelle
right out there.
You don't know Schnit. You don't know Schnit.
54. Well, you were still doing it with where you came home and saw the Brady Bunch and stuff like that. So yeah, that counts. One of the greatest experiences in the game lately, and I know when I describe it, you're going to know it too. When I'm playing lately, it's with my man Double G, Giagoo. When that man is playing with you in a squad, I don't know, I get this wonderful warm feeling to all Mender pilots everywhere. I love you, love you, love you. When he hits that green button and those green vibes start, you just feel like you're getting a back rub of health, and your robot gets all happy. Giagoo, I love you, man. And all you Mender pilots are fantastic to run with. I think that's a great bot as far as the strategy of the game. And I should really level one and run one. But don't you guys, wasn't that the best feeling?
Oh, absolutely. You just made me think of an idea.
Yes, sir.
An idea.
What do you think about this? If a player dies in the game, yes, the bot is just dead right there in front of you, and you walk up to it, and you can take their weapons.
Ooh. That sounds really cool. What I want before that,
that's cool.
I want those big slugs like the Nash Horn and the Cane Day. I want those ripping through bots. I want to see freaking arms flying off.
Yeah, of those details. Like we talked about earlier, details. The game is there for. Don't you think the game is primed for these details?
Yes. My God, Rinaldi. By the way, yes. Any person who runs the Mender,
the
Waylands, they are really, really helpful. Like you guys. Bros,
I did not mean to diss the Waylands. Yes, I did not mean to diss them. I definitely want to do
my bro like
yes, Ronaldo.
Brother's been healing me, son. I mess you up.
Well, when we ran that night, it was just we saw some stiff competition, and then we also saw some stuff that we could really hang with. But man, just when I thought we were gonna lose it, the Double G comes up. Oh, Dave, when you came up behind me and you hit that button and vibes hit you and you're thinking, I will live to fight another day.
Yep.
You hit that stealth button and go flying into battle, and you're like, suck on my Ember baby. That thing looks like Toucan freaking Sam coming at you. And
wow. Whoosh. I feel like they're really balanced. Some of the most balanced parts of the game right now, I think, are the Wayland, and the Mender. I think they're really good ideas, and I was talking about them, and I was wanting them. You can go back at our podcast. You can go back.
You're full of crap.
No, son.
You lie all the time.
A year ago, I don't. Why you can't prove that? I was saying for like a year, we need healing bots.
Yeah, and, you did early on show, man. Jason was med bot. We need a medical bot, and so
we just need a medical station.
Somebody, hey, Naldi, somebody write this down. Jason got something right. So put that somewhere. Put that on the bathroom wall in the third.
Can someone stitch that real nice into like a little thing and hand that to my wife?
Boys and girls, if you guys have not seen season 2 of Big Mouth, you've got to get on that.
They took season 1 and they quadrupled.
Oh, it was awesome. Oh, it was just fantastic. I mean, the shame wizard comes in.
The shame wizard
totally messes things up. It's some British dude, and he comes in.
Coach Steve loses his virginity.
Coach Steve, now be careful, man. You're totally spoiled. Yeah, Coach
the
Steve
show spoiled it first.
Yeah, they did.
It is so funny.
Yes. Back to the game, I suppose. But yes, you guys have got to get on that.
Oh my god!
By the way, I was playing a game today. Because I wanted to place back up in Champion League. And I don't know if you guys have the same problem. I don't know if anybody's listening has the same problem that I do. But when you're like competing to get back into your league, when you have to do like the 5 matches or whatever, those are the most unbalanced,
they are
awful matches that I play. So anyway, I was playing. I got placed in Match League 1, so I was playing my 5 matches to get back into Champion League. And I'm in Champion League. Whoop-de-doo. Like I came across Rinaldi in one of the last games that I played. Dude is good.
Did you spank him?
No, we stayed away from each other.
Did you?
Man is good.
Is
we
he?
Were really close. Yeah, we were really close in score actually.
What's he balling? What's he scary?
I don't even remember what bots he was running. Spectre, I think. He was on one side of the map. I was on the other.
Everybody now, okay. If you're a player out there, I have a lot of respect then to a lot of these players that run maybe 1 or 2 Spectres. If you're running more than 2 Spectres, I understand if you're really trying to stay, like if you're running 5, you're really trying to stay at the highest level. But I have mad respect for some of these higher level players that can do it and not just run 5 Spectres. I guess I'm being a little crappy to some of these people that if they're running 5, I got nothing against it. But it really isn't it cool to see it when these guys are only running like 2 and they're running other runs?
I run 1. And I'm very happy with running 1 because I like diversity in my hangar, right?
Yeah.
But I've just noticed, and just in the few days since the new update, that it is considerably slower.
Yep.
The 2-second stealth makes a difference, and how slow it is now makes a difference. But I don't know if it's enough of a difference to discourage people from massively or the mass running of it. I don't think it's going to discourage it.
And it is nice that the 5 seconds was taken down. I think that was a really good move.
Do you remember what? Oh my gosh, what did he say? It was about if you really think that skill, like somebody who plays something else, I don't remember what it was. It was like PUBG or something like that. If you think that War Robots is skillful.
I remember you sent that to me.
Think about this for a second. You get really good at War Robots and you feel really good, like your competency level is skyrocketed. Your confidence level is skyrocketed. You are the baller, baby. And then you go play something like PUBG where you actually have to aim and you miss most of your shots if you just hold your fire button down and exhaust all your ammo. And yes, you run out of ammo. You have to go find more ammo. You can't miss those shots. You have to be very selective of those shots. War Robots is all selecting the targets for you. It is.
It's a different type of game, though. It's a different type of game.
But then again,
really, not completely. It is completely selecting the targets for you.
Well, yeah, it is. But PUBG and War Robots, they're different games.
Different.
You know what I mean?
But
is it not completely though? Is it?
Yes.
Because okay, so I do feel there's a bigger translation. Like if you were a fantastic PUBG player and then you came over to War Robots, you might not be a Champion League player. You might be good, you might not be. But I do feel like there's a bigger discrepancy. A Champion League War Robots player, such as myself, would go play PUBG and probably suck butt. Like there is a discrepancy there, but I don't think it's as big.
Well,
really?
knowing
all the targets are shown. Like you can see where all the targets are on your screen.
Okay.
Someone who's in stealth isn't in stealth. You can't not see that person.
That's a good point.
It's like
and then that's something Jason's brought up in the past, like when he's wanted to maybe have it disappear. And Drippy, you talked about where you'd like it to where until they get within range of the weapon, you can't see their outline at all. Correct?
No, I didn't want to see their outline at all until.
That's what I mean. Up until they be coming within range of your particular weapon.
If you can see them off at a distance.
So you want no targeting.
I want no. What I'm saying is I don't want an identifying mark.
Gotcha. Okay.
Displaying who the person is and where that person is and how far that person is. I don't want to see anything on my screen except for the crosshairs and being able to actually use skill in targeting that person.
Yeah, I do agree with you, though. There is a definite skill difference. Like, if you're good at PUBG, it's way more of a I'm good at PUBG than it is I'm good at War Robots kind of thing.
Well, isn't that also a result of the linear aspect being taken away because you can only swivel left to right and not up and down?
Correct.
Maybe.
Correct. Big time.
Yeah. But I will tell you, though, like, some of the most fun that I have is when I'm in, like, I did it today, and I wish I was recording when I did it, but I knew it was going to happen. As soon as the Spectre jumped, and he had low health, and he jumped, and I just waited till he fell on my crosshair, pushed the button, and then bam, out of the sky in stealth mode. I'm just like, it's so dumb.
I have a question, Kitty. You said, but it is a mobile game, though.
So is PUBG.
PUBG is a computer-based game. It was only recently put on the.
But it's a mobile game, so it's also a mobile game. Like War Robots is a mobile game, and they have one. There's like PUBG. War Robots cannot compete with PUBG, whereas PUBG can't compete with War Robots on the things that War Robots has that PUBG doesn't.
But Jason's right. They're very different. Their whole structure of upgrade and all that is different. And because of what you were talking about, Droopy, without being able to aim up or down, and you're only aiming the linear. But as far as it being, it is a mobile game, though. Are you talking about maybe some of its then there are limitations we have to keep in mind? Is that what you're saying? Or I guess if you can expand on that, kiddo, just give me a little bit more in depth of what your point is so I can understand.
Correct, Tesla. What Tesla said too. Where he says War Robots
and Tesla, and Tesla, something we have to remember is when you're jumping in there, the odds are even. They have the same set of rules to go by physics-wise, like in the physics of the WR universe that we have to abide by that do not let us aim up or down. We then have to, I guess, adapt all our targeting, our hunting, everything has to then, we have to tailor all of our approach, our attack to the fact or to the physical laws in the game. You were talking about PUBG. They have different physical laws within the game that you can target, whatnot. We have a different set of physical laws in our universe.
Correct. Differences between PUBG and War Robots. You can pay for overpowered status in War Robots. In PUBG, it's equal opportunity. You have to go find those powerful weapons, ammo, and gear. By chance, you can be the most skillful, most top dog player, but you might not find those weapons, and you have to deal with just a handgun that has the same range, the same everything that handgun has, 9mm rounds or 45 rounds or whatever it is, 7.62, 5.56. But with War Robots, you can pay for those overpowered weapons. You can pay for those overpowered bots and have that competitive advantage for that season, whatever that season is for, if it's 3 months, if it's 5 months, if it's 2 years. You can have that if you pay the premium. PUBG, not like that at all.
Kitty, I got it. Thank you. That just came through for me.
On that match,
that's very well put. I really just.
Yeah, everyone that drops in on that map when you're playing PUBG
different business
or Fortnite or whatever, you're all at the same level, and the only thing that determines anything is your skill level, basically.
Tesla, that's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
That's a good one, buddy. No, I like what Kitty said there. It is different business models.
Shane, you were funny.
And you know what, man? Yeah. And you have to wonder, everybody says Pixonic's so greedy in the way they're doing it. And I got to agree with a lot of their points. They are extremely greedy in the way they approach getting our money. And you start to wonder yourself, geez, is it really that necessary? The game, if it's that good, should still be able to make money when you start to compare it to Fortnite and PUBG. Fortnite and PUBG are different business models, and they make 10 times the amount of money every month that War Robots make. So you start to wonder yourself, man, is it so necessary for them to take this, I guess you could say, dark road, less traveled? Isn't that
well, what is the difference in business models? I don't understand that.
It's all based on upgrades, whereas that you pointed out that you can basically buy your way to the advantage, and you can't do that. It's all about skins and so forth and this and that.
Yes.
And in the other games, you cannot. And there is more skill involved. An excellent argument by all those who have posted it. It is an excellent argument that there is more skill involved because you are dragging not just side to side, but up and down. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole other dimension that we don't even get to approach in our game. And it's it leads to the main advantage in the hoverbot. If you take your hoverbot and you go up and down with it as fast as you can survive a long time. It's real, unless you have a lock-on weapon. But if somebody's throwing rockets at you, you can avoid them tactically. But that's also because they can't drag up and down and hunt you down. I mean,
did they nerf the? This is totally random, but you mentioned rockets. Or whatever. Did they nerf the Hydra?
Yeah.
Oh, let me look. I've got the stats here.
They increased it 1.2 seconds from 1 second in between. It was 1.2 seconds. I think it was 1.2 seconds in between each rocket.
The Hydra went from 0.8 seconds to 1.1 in between each interval. So you basically added
significant amount of time.
About 3/4 of a second to a full second on the whole ability to shoot your whole wad.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. Don't know why I had to do that to everybody.
That is not what it needed. It needed to not be as precise as it is.
Correct. Like the aphids.
Is the mullet, is that now residing land of misfit toys? I mean,
I don't see it.
They gave it a little bit of a damage pump for the mullet, but I mean, nobody uses it. That's a misfit toy, and so is maybe a couple of others that nobody's ever going to use.
If you really want to be frustrated as a hover pilot, pay attention to your targeting. When you start hovering, and you know how everything is on the horizon.
Does it still do that thing where it jumps your view, whatever?
Your view, you can't
that view thing.
Like you're looking down and you have someone targeted, but you actually want to target someone that's higher on the screen, level on your horizon, but it won't unlock from that person that's below you. And then when you get to a certain point, you're on the horizon now, and it's now targeting that person. Now you can no longer look down until you're closer to the ground because of that that 3D kind of like that sphere. Someone did a video on it. It was in it was a Japanese player that showed like how the targeting like sphere is, like why specific targets are locked, like why it goes into that sequence, like someone who's right in front of you, and then someone who's like 1,100 meters away, and then someone who's 400 meters away, and then someone's at 50 meters away, and then it will keep cycling through this really weird pattern. But it's because
I know what the pattern is, though.
What is it? Predictable?
It has to do with where your crosshairs are in conjunction to the robots. So if all of the robots are over here and there's one robot over here and your crosshairs are over here, even if this robot is way, way, way far closest to it, so it's going to range that one first.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get closer, you get your crosshairs closer to these other robots, it will then count them and start to, cycle through those robots. Now, this is not pushing the button and manually cycling. But if you'll notice, if you try to manually cycle through all the targets, it does not work anymore. Have you noticed that if you just start hitting
it won't
manual,
do anything.
yes, unless your crosshairs drag close to some of the other robots, it will not include them in the cycle. And that's to prevent it from cycling to too many robots too sporadically.
Boy, I get that too sporadic selection still.
But it still doesn't work.
That's still something they're not listening to us about. They don't.
I'm sure
the button doesn't work with crap, especially when your crosshairs are not close to. You want it to cycle through all of them. That's why you're pressing the robot. For goodness' sake, it wouldn't bother
me so much if they kept pushing content like they do.
Yeah.
If they were pushing updates with maps,
maps,
bug fixes, with core gameplay mechanics fixed.
Sure.
Then it
glitches and bugs.
But it's like they lay everything aside. They let the bugs be bugs. They let the glitches be glitches. They let the poor interfaces be poor interfaces, and just push content. And it's like you're pushing really nice toilet seats for really awful BMs.
True.
I just think that they have everything in the game that is awesome. I just want new maps.
Yeah.
I don't want.
I love the maps.
And I don't mind. More, well, you know what? Yeah, it would be.
Let's get rid of Yamato and Springfield, and then bring on some good new ones.
Yeah.
Yes. I just want new maps. And before we get going.
And the reload button. Thank you.
Looney,
the reload button.
Looney put up a video the other day where he was on Yamato. So he made me laugh so hard because when it popped up that he's on Yamato, he's like, "Oh, I hate this map." And I think that every freaking time
when you pop up on Yamato, you can hear him in your head.
Like, oh, I hate this map.
He's a hormone monster.
Right. Right. Well, what's coming up are we've got suppression robots, and we've also got corrosion weapons. Right off the bat, unless the corrosion weapons are real strong, in a game that has evolved into a quick kill situation, a death button type rolling game. Why would you want a weapon that kills slowly over time? Even after
that's a Hydra. That's a Hydra, man.
I mean, yes, a Hydra that would corrode would be something.
Oh
like
my god!
A Hydra that would have corrosion. That would be something else completely.
Dude, and put that on the Spectre.
Yes.
Say goodbye, dude.
Yes.
Say goodbye.
And then you've got suppression robots, which I don't know, man. That doesn't necessarily get me super excited. I get they're trying to add more dimensions to the game as far as the strategy and what you have to keep in mind.
Yes, that is very important to remember, though, is because what he's saying is when they tested shock trains, even I was like, these are crap.
Yep.
And then they went live and holy.
And what happened to that, you guys? What the heck happened? Last I heard, the mechanics of the shock train were going to be changed to the Dragoon. And I liked that idea. I don't care about it.
Do it.
Yeah, I really wanted that to happen because I felt like it was a natural,
fair,
evolution. Yes, and the way the weapon probably should have been to begin with.
Absolutely.
So I was a little disappointed with that. Then the Thunder, obviously, getting its day in court and so forth.
Okay, we've got to bring this up before we go.
Please.
Why is beacons not more of a value in a match?
Yeah.
Because I got 6 beacons. I got 6 beacons, and I had spent the entire game taking down Ansel shields. Because whatever the match was, it was a lot of Ancelots. You should get
credit for that afterwards in the supply drop area.
I lost 22 trophies. I lost 22 trophies. I was the only one getting beacons.
Yeah.
And I got 97,000 damage. No, 900 something damage. And I was taking down Ansel shields. I got 6 beacons. I lost 22 trophies.
Geez.
Because everyone else was going for damage, whatever everyone had like plasma, and I had Punishers. Oh my gosh, the Pursuer Gus, And it was like I was taking down Ansel shields the entire time. I could only imagine how much damage I would have gotten if I would have gotten credit for the Ansel, or the
you should
energy
get
shields.
40,000 per beacon instead of 20.
But I was last in the match, bro. That's how high damage that this game was. But we lost the match. I lost 22 league trophies because of that. Because I was the one going for beacons.
And that's rough. It's tough to come back. Before we get out of here, guys.
It's crazy. I have
to
say something along those lines. It's funny that you mentioned that too, because I was talking to a friend at work, and he was asking me about the game. So I was talking to him about the game, and he asked me the question,
"Hey Ryan,
how do you win? Like, what's the goal?" And I was like, "Well, you can either get beacons,
damn, I wouldn't even know how to answer
damage."
that.
And I was like, the point of the game is to get the beacons. But I was like, honestly, getting beacons is not something that you want to do because you want to go for damage. Like,
you need silver because silver that was like necessary.
Like they don't reward beacons for crap. And I'm going on record right now. Like, I know it's live, but whatever. They're never going to change it. Never.
Okay, so they've given us
because
a choice.
We've been screaming it for 3 years.
Well, before we leave here, they've given us a choice lately. What have you guys been choosing game mode wise?
Domination.
Domination.
I agree. When given the, I play Dom, and I like the game. I mean, even now and then we're like, maybe I should change it up. Nah, man, I just want to play
Beacon
Dom.
Rush is good too.
There's nothing wrong with it. I just, when given the choice,
yep.
I keep hitting Dom. In some places, free for all. Matt Guyver says he only plays free for all. His average is way up there. He says it's all about the Spectre, baby. It's all about the Spectre. At that point, you just keep reanimating that little dude and go at it. So it'll be interesting here to see.
Yep.
As we get going, and it looks as though there are hints being thrown around the WR underworld that the new economy may be revamped somewhat. We might get shorter times, and we might get lightened up on the cost, but in the end, shorter times. We may see that. They're teasing us with it, but once again, as Doc Warrior pointed out, don't always get what they've teased, and they've set the rules, and 2 weeks later,
I know we have to go. Yeah. But like, I don't understand. All they had to do was simple math. Okay, well, I increase this upgrade time here, here, and here, and here. It would take me a month and a half to upgrade this robot.
You wonder where their fuzzy math come from.
No, it's not fuzzy. It's black and really white, incredible. And they still did it. It's like, what the?
It's
called,
we are
what
all,
were you smoking? When
all
they
of us are
that
suffering
it would be a
from
good
a
idea.
All of us that play.
You. Like, it would take me over a year to upgrade my second hangar to level 12.
It would take
till a level
all of us
MK1 or whatever.
Okay, so
it's the fine-tuning theory. That's what it is.
We all have a little battered woman syndrome and all coming back to this game. We keep there must be
upgrade our crap
in all of us because we keep coming back for more. But we want to prove that we can roll with this game and we can be serious players, even if we don't have maxed out hangers. We keep hitting that big orange button because we want to show them all we can roll. I don't care what you have in your hanger. I'm coming for you.
Yep.
Even if I'm getting spanked. And I will get back up and I will come after you again. And that's the fun of the game.
Oh my God.
DSAC, will you show us the door?
Oh man. Hey, whatever you guys are going through, keep your heads up. Don't lose focus on doing great in this world for other people. Love yourself, love your neighbor, love your family. Don't. I knew you were gonna think that way.
I did.
As we're talking about
oh my God,
the hormone monster. Nah, don't let a day go by without telling your family and friends that you care about them. And you know, if you're struggling with something, don't hesitate to ask for help, because it takes a bigger man or it takes a bigger woman to ask for help. So, all real talk. Have a blessed night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We hope you, your friends and family are happy, healthy, and safe. Yes, I said healthy and safe. Peace, y'all. Boom!
Bye, guys.